Everyone says Security Breach failed. Everyone says the old games were better. But what if I told you Secret of the Mimic might actually be the best Five Nights at Freddy's game ever made? Alright, before you click off, hear me out. Because today we're not just talking about gameplay, we're talking about lore, fear, design, and what FNAF was always building toward. And somehow, Secret of the Mimic pulls all of that together. Now, by the end of this video, you might not agree with me, but you should understand why this game is way more important than people think. Okay, let's start with the biggest reason. The Mimic. Not a ghost, not a haunted suit, not even William Afton, an AI that learns and copies you. This is terrifying on a completely different level because the Mimic doesn't just chase you, it studies behaviors, it adapts, and it becomes something worse over time. Old FNAF relied on jump scares and mystery, but Secret of the Mimic, it introduces a form of unpredictability, and unpredictability is real horror. Now, let's talk about gameplay, because this is where people do start arguing. Classic FNAF was about sitting still. Security Breach was about exploring, but it lacked tension. Secret of the Mimic fixes both. You're moving, but you're never safe. The enemy adapts, but you can't rely on the patterns. The environment also feels alive. This game doesn't just scare you, it kind of outplays you. Here's where things get insane. Secret of the Mimic isn't just another story, it's the missing piece. Now, what if Afton is not the main villain anymore? What if the Mimic is what FNAF has been building toward this entire time? Tell me in the comments, do you think the Mimic has already replaced Afton? Okay, now let's address the biggest argument. People say it doesn't feel like classic FNAF, and they're right. That's exactly why it works. FNAF couldn't have stayed the same forever, because if it did, it would have died. Secret of the Mimic doesn't replace FNAF, it evolves it. Okay, this is where Secret of the Mimic goes from a good game to possibly the most important game in the entire FNAF timeline. Let's start with Help Wanted. That game introduced something completely new. Not just ghosts, but code. Now, this is all theory, but Glitchtrap wasn't a spirit trapped in a suit. He was a virus, a digital entity spreading through systems. And Secret of the Mimic explains how that's even possible. Now, this is the theory. What if Glitchtrap was never Afton's soul to begin with? What if it was something that learned to act like him? The Mimic doesn't just copy voices, as we've learned. It copies behavior, patterns, and personalities. So now, think about this. Glitchtrap acts like Afton, talks like Afton, and kills like Afton. But what if that's because the Mimic studied him? That would mean Glitchtrap isn't William Afton, it's something pretending to be him, and that's way more disturbing. Now, this is where everything changes. If the Mimic has been around longer than we thought, then how much of FNAF was actually Afton, and how much of it was the Mimic copying him? Suddenly, the timeline isn't just a story about one killer anymore, it's about something that learns evil and evolves it. Which means FNAF didn't end with Afton, it upgraded. But that's a theory for another day. Now, if you enjoyed this video, you'll definitely want to watch my breakdown on why Security Breach is actually better than people think. And if you disagree with me, good. Because that means this game did exactly what it was supposed to do.